Well, hello everyone. Hope you're all doing all right this afternoon. A little windy conditions here in the neighborhood, upwards of 30 miles an hour, but they're a little bit more blustery by the lakeshore north of here. They said upwards of 50 tonight. But we'll have to see. They talk a lot. Sometimes this stuff happens and sometimes it doesn't. But one thing that's been happening around town, and I've noticed over the years, you'll have a water main break here and there. As I was growing up, it wasn't something that happened all the time, but those were newer cast iron mains back then. And now you're looking, 50, 60 years later, 70 years later. They're having problems with them. They have replaced them as they did projects like the very famous Parkview project here 3 years ago. And of course the White's Road project, the Westnedge Street project, that's not over with yet. They're still working. That's going to be ongoing for the next couple of years. But they replaced these old water mains and also the lead service lines going into the homes and properties and so forth. They did that in my neighborhood 3 years ago. With all that being said, last year in the city, there were 68 water main breaks. 68 of them. And so far this year, there's been 70. In past years, there's been as many as 80 in 1 year. I think that was 5 or 6 years ago. And there was as many as 100 a couple of years before that. 100 water main breaks in 1 year. And due to these old cast iron lines. But anyways, there was another one in my neighborhood. And it was taken care of, but it's all due to the freezing and thawing of these lines. Now, we're at 53 degrees right now today, and it may get that warm tomorrow. Okay? Just barely a month ago, it was nearly 70 degrees colder. With the wind chill, it was bearing down on 22, 24 below. Around here, even colder out north, west of here by the lakeshore with that wind chill. And so you get these extreme temperature freezes and then thaws, and it causes problems there. Does also with the roads. Now, this is pothole season in Michigan, and I'm not going to purposely go out and drive around and waste fuel and rubber looking for potholes, but there are times here in the near future I do have to go out onto the road, and as I find them, I'll call them out to you. It's interesting to see where you'll have them as you enter over a bridge, a bypass, an overpass, I should say, not a bypass, an overpass. And my brain bypassed. Overpass. And it'll break loose there along the steel seam of the bridge to the approach and cause potholes, and then you'll see all kinds of rubber and hubcaps, it used to be, say, all along the road, the shoulder of the road beyond it that's been torn off from cars and so forth. Over by Detroit, there was a 4-foot hole 3 feet deep on an overpass. You could see straight down to the road surface down below. And this is just probably 7 or 8 years ago. And it was really interesting to see that, and cars had been hitting that, and it was ripping their whole suspension, wheel, tire, everything right off the vehicles and spinning them out. And the authorities had to go out there and, of course, get right on that. But there was others that were only half that deep. There was one on a side street that was so deep, and I'm not kidding you, it filled with water, and the neighbors, they went over to a stream or a little lake nearby and caught some panfish and put them in that hole. And they were in there swimming around, and the news were there taking pictures of fish swimming around inside this pothole on this city street. And they'd been trying to get it fixed for years, and the city just wouldn't come and do it. So they decided that they'd make a statement. So they planted fish in it and sat there with a couple lawn chairs and fishing poles, and actually were fishing in this pothole. Within 24 hours, a crew was out there, and they really had to tear it all up. It was a heck of a thing, and they repaired it. All it took was them to bring that to the attention of the news. Like, what in the world is going on here? Well, I haven't seen them that bad around here, but I've seen them bad enough to tear your suspension right off a vehicle. And it's not very good. You see a vehicle parked on the side with a wheel and struts and tire and everything lopped over the side, dragging off the side of the car. A big old pothole. Yep. So you have to watch those. You have to really watch them. You call them in, and the county or the city will go over there and attend to them. They do a pretty good job of it. But once they're filled, I can show you where there's a couple around here that once they're filled, give it 24 hours, maybe 48, and it's open again. Nice strata over there in the clouds, right? Yep. Calling for thunderstorms here. I'll be right back. Many years ago, my mother was going downtown in Kalamazoo to drop my grandmother off. She lived in a house no longer there, near the hospital. And my mother was driving a 1978 Continental 4-door, big old kind of dark blue boat, we used to call it. And someone had removed the manhole cover near right in front of my grandma's house. There wasn't any street light there or anything. It was dark. And my mom drove down there, and speed limit's 35 miles an hour, and she hit that manhole, and it blew the tire right off the rim, broke the rim, the front tire. She pulled right over to the side, was able to get grandma out over to the house. It was just about 50 feet away. Grandma went inside, and the police came and seen the trouble and everything. My mom had gone inside the house. It was before there was any cell phones or anything. Called my father and come down there and pick her up. We lived out on the farm then. And the officer was quite rude. He gave my mother so much time to move the car farther over the side of the road, and my mom couldn't do it, so just wait till my husband gets here, he can do it. And the police officer says, if you don't do it, I got to give you a ticket. And all this, my mother says, well, how about finding the manhole cover so nobody else hits that? And he didn't really worry about that. He was worried about writing a ticket. So my father got there and moved my mom's car, and the tow truck came and had it towed away. And lo and behold, the officer wrote my mom a ticket. And so my father made one call to the attorney, and as I remember, they made an appearance in court, and it was all tossed out, and repairs to my mother's vehicle were made and paid for by the city, as I remember. They paid the insurance claim or whatever it was, and it was the suspension, the tire, the wheel, and it even buckled up and did body damage along the quarter panel right there and so forth. And it was something else. But the officer being like that, and of course it was about 10 o'clock at night, there was nobody on the street, but it all worked out in the end. So to this day, I even look at those service covers and manhole covers when I'm driving around. I'm going, boy, I remember the night that happened. So anyways, I think today it would be a little bit different story. I don't know. I'd hope it would be. Starting to rain right now. There's some people that have been coming here to the preserve, and they're beginning to walk out there. But we do have the rain coming in. We'll take a look here a second to the west before we leave. Starting this light rain, you can see the flag over here in the distance blowing. The weeds right here. Well, if you look on the radar, just beyond this, it gets pretty gnarly looking. I'm going to be inside for that. I'm going to be right at sunset. Maybe get something out my back window. All right, thanks for watching. Listening to this about the water main breaks. Boy, that's a lot. They said that it was keeping the city workers busy 24 hours a day on the water main breaks alone. I bet. It's a good thing we don't have any snow right now, because workers would be out there to do all that, and we were supposed to get snow in the next couple of days. Rain's supposed to turn to snow, and it could possibly be the last snow of the season. We're hoping so. There's still about 6 inches of ice on the lakes. There's still fishermen out there ice fishing. I have been by a couple lakes, but I don't see them out there. Might have to wait till next year, see what goes on. All right, thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Thanks for subscribing too. I sure appreciate it. Have a great day.